You all riled up and get past all the business stuff. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
got your seatbelt on your chair there.
Yeah, I need to kind of get stirred up about something.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Defining deviance down in Fresno, California says they're going to tax marijuana growth and sales in order to pay gang members not to fire their weapons.
There, yeah,
I knew that one would do it for you.
there you go.
I
Yeah,
knew it would do it for you.
yeah. Nothing like paying them to obey the law. Just get some money out of taxpayers and give it to them to not shoot their weapon. Okay.
It's like
What about just picking them up and putting them in jail? You
it
know.
costs too much. It costs too much. It's cheaper to pay them not to behave badly,
Yeah, and
and to school them not to behave
if
badly.
they got MS-13 printed on their forehead, well, man, you can't mess with them. They need to stay here and make good, productive citizens in the United States. Uh, anyway, I'm being just a little bit sarcastic, just a little
A
bit,
little catty.
not much, but well, I would like to talk about something positive.
Okay.
I talk about so much negative things, but on the other hand, if I don't warn you about negative things that are happening in this country, especially those negative things that will destroy the country, then if I don't warn you of that or anyone else, then I'm just as guilty as the ones that are destroying the country.
Well, how about the fact that we actually eat steak still here in the United States? Off of beef cattle, off four hooves, and in Cuba, that the government is telling them that they're eating steak, and instead they're really eating grapefruit.
Well,
That's a socialist country for you, and they're
well,
still driving cars that for 1940s, 50s, and so on.
yeah, those people who think Bernie Sanders is so great, why don't you get on the airplane, fly down to Cuba, and see how you like it down there, and then maybe come back via Venezuela, and if you like what's happening in Venezuela, then come back and vote for Bernie Sanders.
Can
Uh,
you explain to me why it's cheaper to breed ostriches for meat in Cuba than it is beef or pigs or some such? Why
oh,
are they doing that?
well, I'm not believing that, number one.
I just thought I'd ask.
And number two is I tried to eat ostrich meat once upon a time, and
It chased you?
yeah, well, uh, that is the last time I'll try that. I like beef, I like pork, I like turkey, I like all kind of things.
It's
But
a giant turkey.
yeah, well, it don't taste the same.
Kind of
uh,
tasted like your boots.
well, I chewed on it for about 30 minutes and finally just got rid of it. But at any rate, we have so many people that want to change America,
Excuse me.
and not necessarily change it for good. They just won't change. So a lot of young people are addicted to change, and they want to change. In fact, and I probably shouldn't bring it up, but
But you will, because you do.
well, I will bring up the fact that I had a call last week from my eldest daughter.
Ah, lovely.
She resides in Missoula, Montana, and let's keep in mind that Missoula, Montana is Montana's answer to Berkeley University in California. So I had about a 2 hour discussion with my daughter, and I still love her, think a lot of her, etc. But uh, boy, she hates Donald Trump. She loves Barack Obama. She, everything that I'm opposed to, she's for it,
Kool-Aid
and
drinker.
and that's okay. She has the right to believe whatever she wants to, but it just points out to me that you are a product of your environment because my daughter was not raised to think that way. The rest of our children do not think that way. I had a granddaughter stop and visit with me at Whataburger just the other day, and I was amazed at how dead on right she was about what's happening in our society. And I was amazed at how much she knew. And I'm also amazed at the upside down thinking of my daughter in Missoula. I love her, but she made the statement that we want progress and you want to go back to what America used to be. And I said,
And what's wrong with that?
I said, you damn whistling. That is exactly what I want. I want to go back to traditional values, that being the same value as Christian values. And what's wrong with that? That's what made America what it is. But of course, you hear politicians now, especially Democrats, making the statement that America is not and never was great. My suggestion is, if you think America is not great and never was great,
Move.
why are you here?
Yeah, move.
Why don't you get the hell out of here? You know, and I'll help buy you an airplane ticket if you want to go to Venezuela, wherever you want to go. We'll take up a collection to see if we can't help get you on an airplane out of here.
Yeah, I bet you we can get some ostriches from South Texas, and we can send them with that to Cuba. You know, and they can bring a care package with them.
But see, those people, you know, that hate America, they do not want to leave. They want to destroy what's here. Barack Obama, and I am quoting, Barack Obama said, I want to fundamentally change America.
And he has.
And he tried to. He did. He did change America.
And he's still working on it.
But how many people voted for him? If you heard someone say, I want to change America, I want to fundamentally change it, why would you consider voting for that moron? What would make you vote for him?
Because they don't have an appreciation for what was, how it came about, you know, the sacrifices given to accomplish it.
Well,
because they've all had privilege since what date? Since the 1950s?
Well,
they've all had privilege.
I was listening to another call-in show, the Lynn Wooley Show, which I listen to a lot, and I think he has a new show now. I'm not sure when it is, but at any rate, I was listening to him one day, and it was during the primary season when Hillary was running for the nomination for president. And a man called in to Lynn's show and said, Lynn, I'm going to vote for Hillary. And I think Lynn knew the guy. And he said, well, Jim, whatever his name was, said, well, why would you vote for Hillary? And the man's response was, and I'm quoting, he said, I just think it would be so neat to vote for the first woman. That was his reason to vote for Hillary. Not her qualifications, not where she would take the country, none of that, but he thought it would be so good to vote for the first woman.
Hence, voting for the first black man.
There were people that voted for Barack Obama because he was the first black man. And the fact that he wanted to change America didn't matter. What mattered was he was the first black man. And
nobody
they voted
asked
for
the
him.
question on how he wanted to change America. He was just going to improve it because he was all insightful. He was all knowing.
Well, and if you had an ounce of brains, you would have figured out early on that he was a communist and an Islamic. Now, some people said, oh, that's impossible. Well, was it? What was the first country he helped when he became president? It was Cuba, a communist country. What was the next country he helped? It was Iran, a Muslim country. And he helped them to the tune of
how many billion?
1.65 billion with a B.
I thought there was 400 billion or something between everything that was sent.
It was so much money I can't even imagine how much it was. But these are the same people, while he is sending them billions and billions of dollars to build missiles and atomic weapons with, these same people are chanting death to America.
Every day.
Death to America. And him sending them money to build the equipment to destroy America with. And people voted for that for that
Interesting
man.
Individual.
Yeah, and I just, it makes me question, what do you have for brains? How do you use a common, logical, rational, operating brain and then vote for someone that does things like that? and then they voted for him for a second term. After he had proven what he was, they voted for him again. What's up here between your ears to make you want to do that? Anyway, I hate to be so negative, but I read or heard once upon a time about a scripture in the Bible referring to the watchman on the wall. It referred to the fact that if you are the watchman on the wall and you see danger coming, if you warn the people and they don't heed your warning, the sin is upon their head. But if I'm the watchman on the wall and I do not sound the watch cry, the sin is upon my head. Well, I don't want the sin to be on my head. I'm going to sound the watch cry. That's what this program is all about. Sounding the watch cry, wake up America. Wake up, look around, and pay attention to what is happening to our country. Because we live in this country, and after you've destroyed it, where are you going to live? Where are your kids and grandkids going to live? We need to preserve this greatest, freest country in the history of the world. And we need to preserve it just like it is. And if that means going back to traditional values, which my daughter accused me of, then so be it. I admit that. I admit I would like to see us go back to our founding principles. Most of them were built on the Judeo-Christian belief, the Ten Commandments, etc. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm proud of those traditional values.
It's horrifying for me to picture in my head what my grandchildren are going to be faced with.
Well,
on a daily basis, the suppression, maybe food, food sources or housing sources or slave labor or whatever. I mean, the amount of poverty or whatever it is that could be in front of them because this country has turned upside down.
Well, and if that prospect don't scare you, dang, you're hard to scare. Like right now, you're having groups, Christian groups, that are bringing in, for example, one in Dallas, a Christian group brought in 600 people from the Congo and put them in Dallas. Another group somewhere brought in a whole bunch of them from Africa, I think, in San Antonio or somewhere.
Yeah, another 500 in San Antonio.
Okay.
So, and I don't know that these people were quarantined for 21 days or 25 days or whatever it is to make sure there was not Ebola in there after they had already found like 6 cases.
Well, and if just one of those people has Ebola is like 99% fatal and 100% contagious. You're talking about bringing in and starting a pandemic in the United States.
But you already have several other pandemics that are starting.
Yeah,
in LA, for instance.
But this pandemic would wipe out the country. It would kill everything here old enough to die.
Well, they're talking about the Black Plague coming back because of and I would imagine that most of those street people, a lot of them are illegals.
Well, and some of these people that are bringing these folks here are good Christian, well-meaning people. Are they stupid, or what's wrong with them? Why do you want to go over there and bring people in here like that? What is your goal? What do you want to accomplish for the future of America? But here's a guy that's going to tell me all about this. He don't live in Texas, bless his heart. But we're going to let him talk anyway because he's a pretty good guy. Ed, are you there?
Hello, Mr. Conn and Tina, and thank you for the introduction. I don't know that I deserve it. But
Hey, Ed.
Well, I was trying to think of something good to say.
well, it's better to say something good than to say something nasty, huh?
There you go.
But on the same tone of voice, I'm looking at a meme on on Facebook, and it has a picture of 2 gender benders, 2 cross-dressers. One's bare-chested, and on his chest it says, human rights, animal rights, veganism, atheism, feminism are the future. Now, this is the direction this country's going. These are the enemy. And these are the people that are so happy about the invasion coming across the border. They support everything that we're against. They're the democracy.
But
and
Ed,
we've lost the republic.
How many good, faithful, good Christian people see that and then accept that as true? You know, why aren't the good Christian people standing up and saying, not in my lifetime, it's not?
Or tolerance, you know. They want to tolerate this crap.
Yeah.
You don't tolerate the intolerable.
No.
You oppose it.
Excellent point. You stop it.
Exactly. And they are the enemy. They're taking over this country. It's nauseating. It really is. And it's frightening. You brought up about some of the invaders coming across the border with Ebola and all this stuff. How insane does somebody have to be to allow that? There used to be criteria for coming into this country. When my ancestors came to this country, they were examined. You had to have a physical examination. You had to be able to speak English and understand what the Constitution said, and so on. There's no criteria. You know, it's lunacy. We've reached the age of lunacy.
Well, that's why I make the statement, Ed. Is insanity contagious? Is mental illness contagious? How else do you explain what so many people are in a hurry to do to our country?
They're self-destructive.
Well, why does someone who has a family, friends, neighbors, why do they want to destroy the country we live in? What makes that motivate some people's thinking? I have a real hard time getting a grip on what's up here between your ears. Is the only thing there just a place where you put your hat, or is there something up there that makes you think logically and rationally and sensibly? How else do you explain people that want to do what some people want to do to this country?
I also wrestle with the same thought. That thought crosses my mind as well. But I realize that these people, again, have been brainwashed from the cradle. In the grade school system, you know, right on up through the universities, which are the higher institutions of propaganda, and they've been brainwashed by the TV, all the media, and they've had it pounded into them to appeal to their base instincts. And that's what's happened in this country. That's democracy. That's a perfect example of democracy.
It's what I said about the lady I talked to in Missoula, Montana. It's environmental. I think that we are a product of our environment. I've heard all my life that, Grandma Conn used to say, birds of a feather flock together. Well, if you want to be like that group of birds, then meet with them. If you want to be judged as a drug addict, then associate with drug addicts. If you want to be a murderer, then associate with murderers. So,
but see, the problem is those numbers have increased so much that they may be in the majority now. Who knows?
They could be, because never before in your lifetime, Ed, have you seen people praising and praying to and acknowledging Satan.
That's right.
You've never seen that before in your lifetime.
No, never. That's a big part of it. That's their God.
But also, you've never before in your lifetime seen Christians not standing up to the worship of Satan, etc. You know, and I don't know what it takes to stand up and stop this, but it may require a I don't know, I better not say that. But I don't want to ever encourage violence, but sometimes that is just the natural evolution of what happens.
We're being pushed into it.
Yeah.
And I believe people like Soros and these other manipulators really want that. They don't. The only reason they're inducing people to do this, because they hate them too. The only reason they're inducing them to do this is because they want the population to kill itself off. Because smaller population is easier to control, and after the dust settles and the smoke is cleared, then they can really assert their power.
Well, is their ultimate goal to a one world government? Is that what they want? They want to destroy. Say, you can't have one world government as long as America is still free. So if you can destroy America, then you may accomplish one world government. Is that their ultimate goal? Is that where George Soros wants to take us?
That was his exact words. It'll be the culmination of his life efforts to destroy America. Those are his exact words. And he's walking free.
Well, then why don't we recognize that he is funding some of the caravans that's coming up here and crossing what some Democrats want, open borders?
I had read that these people from the Congo are coming across the border with wads of $100 bills. Where do these people in the Congo or Somalia get wads of $100 bills?
Well, and the one that gave them the $100 bills, are they giving the $100 bills to someone with Ebola? I'm just asking a question. If they are so adamant about destroying America by flooding the country with other cultures, other religions, etc., then would they be just as adamant about flooding the country with some people with Ebola or some other pandemic-causing disease? I don't know.
That's what they're doing.
Well,
that's what they're doing. How many cases of Ebola have been discovered in Texas so far?
I heard like 6, but those were on both sides of the border.
Yeah,
and that was several weeks ago.
I can't document it, but I did hear the other day that there was one case, and they controlled it some way, but some immigrant got here with Ebola, and I forgot where that was, but I think there has been a case of that already.
Well, there's only 3 hospitals in the country that are authorized, if you will, to treat Ebola. One's in Maryland, somewhere in the D.C. area. The other one is, I think, in Nebraska somewhere. It's a middle country state, and I think there's one in Texas as well. I'm not sure about that. But there's only 3 hospitals that are treating that. And, you have people walking across the border with Ebola, that stuff's going to spread.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. That's what some people want. And some Christian groups would gladly go over there and get 600 of those people and bring them over here without a physical examination. What is in somebody's head that makes them want to do that? I just don't understand the logic and the rational thinking of someone that wants to do that.
Well, I don't understand, and maybe the two of y'all can help me with this. I don't understand how the country has gotten to the point where we have all these homeless or street people or whatever you want to call them living in the streets in several different states, several cities. And now we have, was it typhoid? We have the plague. We have, all of these things that are starting to creep back up again that have been for centuries put down. And you have feces in the streets. Most of this is in California. But why is this being allowed to happen? Why is this acceptable? Why are the residents of those states think this would never have been acceptable 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
And it's not only acceptable, it's encouraged.
I don't comprehend how they marketed this and made it acceptable. Why is it the norm now?
Well, what do we use for brains? I keep saying it, I guess, but the more I see of people and their lack of brain power, the better I like my cows.
Yeah.
I got some cows that I think are far superior to some of the people that I've heard, especially the Democrats running for president.
But if we can come up with a an answer to this question of why is this the norm and it's okay. It's an acceptable norm now.
The
And they
only
give us insight
Wasn't there an
into
old saying,
how
you don't poop where you sleep?
Do what?
Wasn't there an old saying, you don't poop where you sleep?
Well, I can guarantee you most animals I've ever dealt with don't. But, you know, I'm just saying, you know, it might give us a clue as to where we're going, how fast we're going, and how we're getting there.
Well, you know, the best example I can think of, and it's a little bit crude, but we had a barn swallow build a mud nest on our front porch underneath the roof. And it's just a little mud nest that they build on a rafter. Well, this mama built this mud nest, laid some eggs, and the eggs hatched, and these little bitty birds with this little bitty tiny brain will get up on the side of that mud nest and poop on the floor. That my point is that little bitty bird with that little bitty brain has enough sense not to poop in its own nest, which puts that little bitty bird a lot smarter than some of the Democrats running for president in the United States, because they are more than anxious to poop in their own nest, that being America.
You have to wonder why these common sense discussions are not brought up in front of Congress. And what can we, the people, do to shake up these traitors in Congress to start protecting us like they're supposed to, instead of racing to destroy us like they are?
Well, I have even a scarier thought that just crossed my mind. You know how animals, you know, they evolve over centuries or whatever? What's happening to us as we're evolving in this direction?
Well, we are, and somebody said once, in the last days, man will confound himself with his own intelligence. Think about,
or lack of it.
Think about how that applies to today. You know, a lot of this pure idiocy is not coming from the common man down at the beer joint. It's coming from Harvard University or Yale University or some of the high-powered universities is what is producing this. Well, I better watch what I say.
On that note, Ed, hey, we got to go to break.
Okay, see y'all.
Appreciate the call. Thanks.
Be careful, Ed.
Okay, folks, that guy's talking about coal miners that were acting like men. Those were not girly men in that coal mine.
Well, I was born one morning when...
Okay, here we are back on the Common Sense with Conn show. Glad to have all of you listeners out there. We've got the best listening audience in the whole dad blame world, I think.
And we got a vast audience. I mean, we have people from all over the world that listen to us on streaming, and we get emails from them and comments on our Facebook page, etc. But, you know, we go out into, probably about 200 miles from the station. You know, it's sporadic. There's some holes out there, but we've had a lot of people tell us that. We're even picked up in West Texas. So.
Well, we're even picked up in Afghanistan, because didn't you have somebody text you?
Oh, yeah, Afghanistan and Thailand and, you know, all kinds of places. I mean, just some crazy hole-in-the-wall places. So, but, you know, if you know of somebody, you have somebody that you do business with a lot, that you would, you know, feel comfortable in broaching them about sponsoring the show, whether they want to do it, advertise their business, or just sponsor the show in a patriotic way, quietly behind the scenes. We understand that. The number is 254-300-1885. That's 300-1885. And you can talk to Mrs. Tatum, and she can get that all squared away for you. Also, we still have some Trump hats. You'll be able to see my pink one and Conn's red one. And they are really beautiful hats. They're embroidered. They're embossed. They have Trump 2020 Make America Great Again. They have Trump's signature, or autograph, if you will, that's embroidered on the brim, and it says 45th President on it. And on the back tab, it's Donald Trump. But we got Rick on the line.
Well, and let me say just one thing about these caps. I had a lady call not long ago, wanted 2 caps, and I told her they were $35 a piece, and she said, "Oh no,
oh no, we want 2 caps and we're going to give you $100 for the 2. Just that kind of support. And then John called and he said, I want a cap, but I'm going to give you $100 for that cap.
Yeah, so we've had several, and that's what's kept us on the air for the next week or so.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff, dadgum, I got to be careful to put a lump in my throat I can't swallow. That kind of support. But
and then we go and deliver the caps, and we get to visit with these people a little bit, and they get to see our faces and know who we are.
But
and we appreciate
that. They are people that love patriotism more than they love money. And
well spoken.
That puts them pretty in a very minority. I have to have some money just to pay the electricity bill, etc. But I hope I never evolve to the point where I love the dollar bill more than I love this country and the freedom that I enjoy every day.
If you don't have character, principle, and integrity, then you gave them away. They weren't stolen from you.
A fellow that kind of helped raise me, his name was Fred Wilson down at Lilac, Texas. He used to say, you can't lead me around with a George Washington. He was trying to say, you can't buy me for a dollar bill. And I guess that stuck in my mind, and I'm that way now. But at any rate, I was in San Antonio recently, and I was wearing this cap, and I had 2 different people in a restaurant thank me and compliment me on this cap. So in fact, we had 2 people this morning.
We had a table of 6, but you got Paul on the phone.
Yeah, I got...
Rick. Oh, Rick, sorry.
Oh, I got Rick on the phone.
Sorry.
Doggone, Rick. Go ahead on. What you up to?
Oh, well, I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, we got an echo with you, too.
All right. Anyway, still got a little bit. I'll try to make my point. We're lucky that Hillary didn't get elected, because I've got good news. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decided that the government can defund Planned Parenthood, and so that's a big win for the pro-life side, because Donald Trump has appointed really good judges.
And that came from the ninth court, Rick?
Yep, it sure did. It's probably going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, but, thank God for Donald Trump, because now we're going to have a conservative court, and he's appointed good judges everywhere. Okay, I'm going to hang up because of the echo, but I wanted to give some positive news here.
Well,
all right, thank you.
I'm glad you did, Rick. Doggone that Rick is a good caller. He calls just about every Saturday, and he makes good, rational, common sense comments, and I appreciate the people like Rick and all of our callers. I think we've got some intelligent, cream of the crop callers on this show, and I sure do appreciate them. And I hope that I can say something on this show that rings a bell with people. If I say something that just affects one person, then I've done my job.
So did you see the USA Today poll that was, I think it was the 21st, it was yesterday, that came out? And it says Trump hits the highest approval ever. Certainly for the USA Today, they've never had a poll that he ranked high on, and it's 49 in favor versus 48 who disapprove. And so that's a profound increase for that poll, because that poll always shows him extremely low. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
And I think we got Ike on the phone, right?
Yeah, we got Ike on the phone. Ike, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Listen,
go ahead on, Ike.
Listen, about your Ebola stuff, I've heard before that it's vitamin C will stop Ebola in its tracks. The human body does not produce vitamin C. We have to vitamin C. Only areas and places like the monkeys or chimpanzees that get Ebola and pass it on, they are the only ones that don't produce vitamin C just like we don't. So if people load up on vitamin C, y'all be good to go.
Yeah, Yeah, I guess I'm going to eat more limes in my Dr. Pepper. That's but you know, I would like to not be dependent on vitamin C. I would like to not have Ebola here in the first place. So
well, Con, I just as soon my son is not down there on the border wrestling with these nasty, dirty son of a bucks every day. But he's doing what he can for us. Okay, I'm gonna take vitamin C. He's gonna take vitamin C.
Yeah. Well, I do anyway, Ike. But,
Hey, Ike, we're having a hard time hearing you. Are you talking directly into your phone?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's better. That's
better.
improved. Yes, thank you.
well, Ike, I know you've called before and talked about some of the things that you know about down on the border, and we need more of that because I'm amazed at how many people cannot comprehend the truth about the border. I guess they hear so much untruth from your Democrat representatives or whoever they are. I don't know. I cannot imagine the motivation for the Democrat Party to act about the border like they're doing.
Con, they've got a machine. I've seen.
Yeah, Ike, you got to talk into your phone better.
I've seen a demonstration tape. They've got a microwave machine that you can shoot a riot crowd, and them people run. It burns them on contact. Now, why we don't have that thing on every bridge down there, don't ask me. We're letting them in, buddy. We have a way to stop them. We can put an X-ray on them from 100 feet away, and ain't a thing they can do about it except run.
But see, Ike, that's been my whole theme of talking about the border is we have people, groups of people that want right the opposite to what you and I want, Ike. They want to flood this country with people from, well, anywhere except here. What makes someone think that way?
Well, it's pretty easy you can lead an idiot a lot easier than you can lead a thinking man.
Yeah. Well, I guess you nailed it, Ike. I think you've nailed it. So there is an incentive to keep the American people dumb as a flat rock.
Well, yeah, everybody gets a vote. The dumbest dog around gets to vote. He cancels my vote or your vote or whatever. Don't even know nothing about nothing. Hey, I can take you back to where, huh?
Hey, Ike, we got like a minute and a half left of the show. We appreciate your call. We hope you call in next week. And maybe we'll have a little bit better connection, too.
I could have rounded it up by now.
Okay.
When Kennedy was running, the Catholic Church was giving out strings with knots on it and giving them out to people who couldn't read English, so they marked where the knot was. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ike. And be sure and call in next week. I think we'll still be here next week.
Yeah, we'll be here next week, and we'll see what happens after that. So.
But y'all remember now that if we don't get some more sponsors and some more money to pay for this show, we're going to have to go quietly into the night. And
I will tell you that the hat purchases and donations with them has allowed us to stay on the air a whole nother week here, and that's been quite nice, and we appreciate that. But
well, I just would end the show by saying how much I appreciate those freedom-loving, liberty-loving, patriotic, Christian Americans, and I think that's who listens to this show. And if those who oppose Christianity and liberty and freedom, if they don't listen to the show, that's okay. That's okay. I know that I'm not, I know that I'm not alone because of the good callers that call into this show.
And folks, you all aren't alone either, and we know that's why you call too, is because it unifies all of us. Anyway, y'all have a good week next week, and we'll see you next Saturday.